Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back as always. Really do appreciate you guys popping in and seeing what I'm up to. So today I thought I'd have a play with the glitter paste. This is the Moonlight Frost, which is the clear one, and these stencils. And I'm going to be doing a sort of white on white DL card. It's going to be 4x8. So I've got a piece of card, which I have cut already to 8x8, and I'm just going to bring in my Hunky Dory scoreboard, and if I grab a tool, and this is just the all-purpose white card, or multi-purpose card as they're calling it now. So I'm just going to give that a nice score down there. So that's going to be the basis of our card. So next I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to start with a little bit of silver mirror card. I did think about going straight white on white the whole thing, but I think if I just add just the teeniest bit of silver into places, it's just going to add to it. So I'm just cutting this silver at 2 notches under the 4 and 2 notches under the 8. That will be that top layer. And then I'm going to have 1 layer of the pearlescent, and I'm going to take that to 3 notches under the 4 and 3 notches under the 8. And that should give me, like I say, the teeniest, hardly a hint of a border at all, but just enough to break up what I'm doing. Okay, so that's the first one. Then I need another layer, and this one is going to be quite a chunk smaller, so we're going to 3.5 by 7.5. I'm just going to check what that looks like on there. Yeah, so 3.5 by 7.5. Let's just get rid of those. And then if I bring that piece back in, again, I'm going to go to 1 notch under the 3.5 and 1 notch under the 7.5. Okay, and then I also need an additional piece exactly the same size. So I'm going to go to 3.5 minus 1 notch. Right, 7.5 minus 1 notch. So that should be exactly the same. Perfect. Okay, so I might need another silver layer later on, but I haven't quite decided whether I need to do that or not yet. So we got enough to be getting on with, so that's fine. Okay, so those layers, so the first 2 that I cut, they're going to be just base layers, and then we've got the silver. So I'm going to take the 2 pearlescent ones. Okay, these are the ones that are exactly the same size. So the first thing I'm going to do is emboss the mask onto this one of these pieces. So need and I'm using the big one. Now this is not going to go the whole way down this piece. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it to the top. Actually, just move it along a little bit, because I've got a trick to hide that later on. So then I need my embossing mat. Just make sure I've got that nice and straight. And then these 2 plates, and then we'll just whiz that through. peel these plates off, which do stick together. You can see we've got that beautiful pattern on there. So that's that one. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side for a second, and before I start doing any paste with my stencil, because once I've done that I've got to clean my stencil and I can't do anything else with it after that. What I'm going to do is, I've got these Creative Expressions Female Relatives dies, and what I'm going to do is just take these little hearts out. So they are pretty much exactly the same size, and I'm going to take a little piece of pearl card. So let's just use a bit I've got left there. Actually, I might use, this is a bit that I did emboss earlier. I think it's probably going to squash it down, but we'll see how it goes. Just get 2 bits of tape. So let's just pick something interesting. It's going to be behind the other heart anyway. Oops, a couple of nails again today. So, and that one can go onto there. I use my big plates because those are the ones I've got out. So if I just pop that onto there. Magnetic. There we go. And I do have to die cut a sentiment, but I can do that nearer the end. And I'll probably get the smaller plates out by then. Finishing going through. You'll see how much it squashed it down on that mask. Let's have a look. Oh, that's perfect. So I've just got that little indent on there. It has pushed it down quite a bit, I'll be honest. I don't know if you can really see that, but I have got the pattern on there. So that is what I want. So let me put that safe. Let me pop that tape off there. And if you want it to be more defined, obviously just print it out, take it out of a plain piece and then pop it through your mask again. Right, so that's that bit done. So now we can get to the fun bit. So I'm going to bring in this silicone mat. As you can see, I haven't washed it. I have been doing quite a bit of this paste work with it, so I've been having a bit of fun with it. So that's need to wash, but I will get that done later today after I finish this video. So this one, again, it doesn't really matter that it's not going to take the whole piece up because I'm only going to be using a chunk of it. I don't know if you watched my last video, you'll know I did say that I'm going to be doing a sort of diamond. It's not a diamond, is it? It's more like a sort of, I don't know, parallelogram or something like that shape. I keep seeing it on cards on Facebook, and I've sort of like got a bit addicted to the shape. So I had this idea first, this card idea first, but obviously I had to, I was going to do the hunky-dory one anyway because I needed to practice a few things anyway. But so this tape, it's an old tape that I got from Create and Craft, and I would say it is old, so it's not as sticky as some of the others. It has been working for me when I've been doing this previously, but I think when I reorder from Crafters Companion, I am going to get some more of this spray one. I know I have got some somewhere because I used to use it on my old cricket mats, but can I find it? No. So I know it was getting near the end of the thing anyway, so it obviously would need replacing at some point soon. So I'm just going to pull this back, and you can see it's quite gorgeous. Okay, so if I had this stick and spray, this wouldn't be quite so bouncy. I have got a piece already prepared because this is going to take time to dry. So and it came out okay. So obviously it's not cut to size because I was just doing it on a plain piece of card. But I'm just going to go and smush this in, technical term, smush this in to the actual stencil. And this is quite therapeutic, if I'm honest with you. I have enjoyed playing with this, especially this stencil. And even that sort of grainy noise doesn't put me off. Sometimes I'm a bit sensitive to sounds like this that I wouldn't want to. It puts me off doing it, if you know what I mean. If you've got a sound you don't like, but put it in into all those gaps, and if you see any card through any of the gaps, then you just pop a bit more paste in. Okay, so just clean that off. Just putting any excess back in the jar. And this clear one is a good one to have because obviously if you've inked underneath and then put the clear one on, then that will come through very nicely. So what I'm going to do now is just very carefully peel this off the back. There it goes, like so. And it has smushed a bit down here, but you can see the top and the definition there. It's quite nice. So let me show you the one I did a bit earlier, which is the one I'm going to use when I cut it down to size. And it has got a little bit green in because I was playing with the green previously, but you can see that lovely sparkle, and it's quite raised. It's hard to describe. I mean, you can see these edges where because I left them to dry on the tape, and you can see it's quite a substantial bit of glue there. I did sort of have a little play with the idea of stenciling onto my mat and watching them dry to see if I could like make some dots or things, or even, you know, these shapes which you could then peel off. But I have to say, on the whole, it wasn't very successful, just purely because the glue spread a little bit. So the dots were more like clouds, I suppose. If you were looking to make a sort of cloudish shape, probably would be perfect, but it wasn't what I was aiming for. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and wash my stencil and my tool, and put this somewhere to dry. You won't see a break in the video, but just bear with me 2 seconds while I do that. Okay, so we're back. So it's quite important to wash those stencils straight away. I think if you're just using them for the actual paste, it probably wouldn't be as much of a problem, in that because when it dries, it is gonna set on there. You may be able to get it off, but I doubt you would be able to. I just think it's better to start as you mean to go on, and you know, clean them straight away to avoid any problems. Okay, so I'm taking this piece. I have cut it down to the 1 notch under the 3.5, and I've trimmed it up at the bottom. Like I say, we're not going to be using all of it anyway. So I'm going to turn it over, and just like the video I did before, I'm going to make a notch at 1 inch under 1 inch on the right hand side, and I'm just going to draw my line across, and then I'm going to come down. I'm going to come down 3 inches, and then on this one, if I line that up neatly, so 3, and I'm going to go 3 from there. So this is going to be marked at 1 and 4, and then at 3, and then I'm just going to draw that line across just to give me that little piece there. And I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and just like before, I'm just going to line those lines up. And go straight across, and then we've got our lovely piece of cardstock with our paste on. And then this piece that we did earlier, I'm just going to go to the bottom of that embossing and just neaten it up. Now this piece is going to come across here, and it should fit neatly. I am going to do a silver, tiny silver border as well. I'm just working out where I can cut that. And if I just like a mark there, round about in the middle, and then I can slice that across there. And once this is on, you're not going to be able to see where that join is. Well, you will be from the side, but not really. Okay, so the other thing I said I was going to do is just make a little silver mirror. So again, it needs to be 3.5 minus 1 notch, and that's the sort of which side of it. I'm going to come down, I'm going to come to just 1 notch under the 1 and 1 notch over the 4, and then on this side I'm going to go to 1 notch under the 3. I think this should work, so let's try it. If not, we might need to just pop our piece on there and just go that way. Just take that just a tiny bit neater, and then this bit here. Let's have a look, see if that is just a teensy bit longer than we need. Let's see. It's not worked out quite how I wanted it to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat. So if I cut this across the middle, like so, hopefully we should be able to just, because I don't want it coming over this side, it's only literally going to be along that edge. Hopefully I should be able to just pop that on like so, and then yeah, and then I'm just going to get that little edge that I want by cheating. So apologies, my measurements didn't work out. I'm guessing you could just really just take, I could have made it easier on myself and just take it in a small strip, stuck it onto the back, and then done it that way. But obviously I've chosen to make life a little bit harder for myself this way, but it didn't work, but we can make it work. End of. So it's time now just to start getting things assembled. Okay, so if we start by bringing in our original card base, just going to give that another really good burnish down. And I'm going to bring in my Kalau all-purpose glue. You know, this is one of my favourite glues. One of the best glues on the planet, I think. I have to agree with Leanne on that one. Obviously, with using it on anything pearlized or foiled, just be careful because it can take the finish off. Okay, so we're just going to pop this on. Give that a nice smooth down, and just make sure we've got that nice and even. And then I am using it on this pearlized card on the back. I'm just making sure not to go too close to the edge. If I do get an end that pops up, what I can do is just put a little bit of the tacky glue under at a later date once everything's all secure. So I'm just popping that on. Nice and central, popping that down. Okay, so then next we've got our other piece of silver card, and I'm going to put the piece of card that I embossed, again just being a little bit careful where that glue is going, and the larger piece I'm putting at the bottom because my my sort of parallelogram is going nearer to the top. So I just need to make sure I've just got the tiniest bit of silver coming through. And then we just want to match that up. Is that the way? Yes, it is. And again, so that's going at the top. Okay, so I'm just going to pop to move into the right place. So then we're going to come to our bit that we've done our pastes on, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tacky glue on this one because I want it to stick fairly quickly. So if I pop some on the back of there. And again, I just want the narrowest of borders, just a bit to give us a little bit of shadow play. That's that one. Then, like I say, it probably would be a lot easier just to cut a thin strip just to pop behind and then trim off the edges when that's done. Okay, so now we've got our pieces. So the next thing I'm going to do is pop this on. So I want this to come up just a little bit. So for this one I'm going to use these Hunky Dory strips, foam strips, and they are about 2 millimeters, I believe. So just going to pop some odd little bits there. So I'm just aiming for enough for support for it. Of course I am going to put some glue on there just to keep that sturdy, and make sure that it's glued for a long time. This is the type of card I think that most people, or a lot of people, would like to keep if it's an anniversary or something. So it's nice if the card does last longer than a few years. The problem with foam tape, and this is just not Hunky Dory, it's all foam tape, sometimes it can shrink in the heat. I mean, you think about your foam for flowers and things, how they change when you add heat to them, similar sort of thing. So if you add a little bit of glue to the back, it's just, you've got no guarantee, but it's just a little bit of an insurance that will keep that in place on that piece of card for a little bit longer than just the foam on its own. Okay, so I'm just making sure I've got the card the right way up. And I just want to pop this on sort of in the middle. If I can get it nice and straight, that would be awesome. Come on now, let's play the game. There we go. So I'm happy with that. Then this piece, obviously it's coming across here like so, but I want that to be higher again. So for this one I'm going to be using the Crafters Companion foam on a roll, and I mean, guessing by that it's probably either 3 or 4 millimeters high, so it's going to give us quite a nice point of difference. There we go. Just check that down. So I'm going to put a bit just on these ends here. There we go. That should, yeah, that's a little bit better. If you didn't want to go this high, obviously you can just go to either whatever height you want to with your foam pads, or you can use your glue gel. It's just whatever is your preferred thing to use. Let's see, do I want to go? Yeah, I want to go this way. And then what I'm doing is just popping that over. I just want that to come just a little bit under there, just that there's that point of difference. I think that's too high. Let's take that off if we can. I'm going to swap that foam tape out. Yeah, it's definitely too high. So let me just pop the backs off here. And I'll just go with that hunky-dory foam instead. So, you know, don't be afraid to change things up if you know, when you're putting it together, and if it allows you, like, because I put that glue on here, I have plenty of time to mend things. Just take all this foam off, bit of a waste of the foam really. But I just think it looked a bit silly being that high. So better for me to change it now than be thinking, ooh, that's too high. There we go. Okay, so let's go with some of these hunky-dory ones. These are the 2 millimeters, so it's going to be about half what we were. I might have to just cut this one down a little bit to go across there. There we go. And even if you wanted to go flat with this, I think it still would generate enough shadow to make the card stand out. So I'm just popping some glue on the back. Now we just have to get that back where we had it before. So there we go. Yes, that's better. I like that better. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is bring in these little hearts here. And I think what I'm going to do as well is just cut a little bit in silver just to go behind, just to highlight those. And I also need to cut my sentiment, so let's pop that to the side for just a second. So if I grab those hearts back, just pop those out, and the sentiment I'm going to use, if I haven't lost it, is from box 54 Silhouette Scenes from the subscription boxes, and there's a With Love in there, so I'm going to be using that. So if I grab myself my other plates, okay, so let's pop that down. clean these bits off. Oh, they don't want to come off. Okay. So I'm going to start with this little bit of silver that I've got there. I'm just going to pop those on. A little bit of tape so they don't go flying around. It's there. Put a plate, and then that's just going to go through. Hearts. That's our pretty delicate with and love. Let's just poke that out. That's our love. There. And then if I take those out of there before I lose them, and I need another little piece of, it's just another little piece of pearl. Just cut that out roughly. Just put that into there. Into there. I know my plates are the wrong way round, but it's a Gemini, so it's a good machine, it'll take it. Right, okay, so now we should be able to finish this card. So hopefully that's cut. Oh, it might not have cut all the way through. No, it hasn't. Okay, let's bring my plates back. And I'm just going to add a little bit of black card here, so let's just add a little shin. Normally I would put it through my cut and tidy, but that's right on the bottom of everything, so just for quickness I'm just going to pop that through in there. How that is. Yeah, that looks more promising. Yeah. There we go. So let's get rid of those. Right. Put them scissors away as well before I lose them. So just popping this out if it wants to come out. Here's my width. Fingers and thumbs. And my love. I'm just going to poke these little decorative pieces out. So we've got our width. Just checking they're all out of there as well. And they are. And then we've got those. Okay. So now we can come to decorate this up. So what I'm going to do is just pop a little bit of glue on the back of my hand. Could use your dotty tape pen if you wanted to, or even your little Xyron sticker machine. I'm just going to pop that on with a little bit of a shadow, oops, at the top, and then again just pop that to there and onto the love. And then this one I can pop some straight onto the back. It's a bit more sizable. And again, I'm just pulling that over, and then with this plain one, if I can pick it up, another little bit there, and again we're just pulling that over just that tiny little bit. Okay, so now we can get this finished. So these little hearts, so I've got this one which is the embossed one, so I'm going to put that on flat onto the back. I'm just going to put quite a nice bit of glue on there just to go through all of this embossing. Just going to move that to there, and then I am going to use, I haven't got any in my syringe, but some 3D glue gel just on the back of this one, just purely because of that embossing. So that's just going to go onto there like so. So I left the top off my syringe the other day, and that's why I haven't got anything in my syringe at the moment. So now I'm not sure whether I want this to go at the bottom with the with love, or I can go along there. Let's see. My kind of thought was that it would go down the bottom here. It's sticking to me, it's not helping. Okay, I think I am going to go down the bottom. Let me grab some tweezers, I think, and that might help me get that in where I need it to go. So again, I'm just popping a bit of glue on the back of my hand. Just going to dip that in, and I want that just right at the bottom. Just going to hold that down, and then again plenty of glue on. And just give that a little press down. Okay, so the last little thing I want to do on this card is to bring in, you guessed it, some pearls. Okay, so I've got these tiny ones. They have got mixed up with some other things. I think these came from eBay. It's got a label on it saying Badass Beauty, so I'm assuming they were originally intended for nails. So obviously I'm going to avoid these blue ones, but I want to pretty much stone all of this up. So I'm going to be putting stones on this heart here and on this background. So it's just going to be a case of picking little places to put them. So I'm just going to pick a couple of the tips there, and then just with these tiny little beads, these are probably about 1 millimeter. They are really tiny ones. And I'm just going to keep going around and doing that. Just popping those on, and obviously this is something you could skip if you wanted to. It's just one of those things I love to do. So then for the heart, what I want to do is just pop 3 in that corner, and again just pop in those on. Okay, if you wanted to, you could go all the way around. I may change my mind when I've finished, and take those all the way around. But what I'm going to do is just fast forward this a little bit to where I've finished putting all of these pearls on. Okay, so that's it all stoned up. So I've stoned all along here, just where I thought I could pop them in, usually at the end of a leaf or a start of a leaf. You could even, I could have even put more on, but that's just where I've stopped. So the next thing I want to do is, I've got this little teeny weeny tiny bow. I'm just going to pop that onto there with a little bit of PVA. I did go round the heart with all of the stones there as well. And then lastly, just the last little bit of bling. So just in, just blowing bubbles, so just in each corner on this piece here. I'm just going to take a clear gem. These are hunky dory ones, and it's quite a small little gem. Get my knife, that might pick that up a little better. Just going to pop these onto the edges there. There and there, and that for me is finished. If you wanted to add a little stamped happy anniversary, happy wedding day, anything like that, there's plenty of space there, and you could even go in with tiny gems on all of these bits here just to add that little bit of extra bling. But I think that's a pretty simple, nice clean white and silver card. Would be a nice diamond or anniversary card with the silver on. But that's it for me for today. Next time I'm going to be back with Hunky Dory as per usual, and then after that I might have a little play with some of the Spellbinder Susan's Garden flowers. My mum used to collect them. I played with one or two of them. I haven't really had a lot of playtime with them, just purely because they were hers and that was her baby, and I didn't want to put her off using them, you know, so because she did struggle so much with her hands and her breathing, so because she had COPD, so she used to get quite frustrated because she couldn't do it exactly how she wanted to. So I just tended to stay away from things that were purely hers. But there's quite a collection of them, so it would be nice to sort of have a little play with them, not next time, time after. So might try and fit in an extra little play in between. But hopefully you're all doing well. Thank you for the lovely comments again last time. As I always say, I really do appreciate you guys, and if you can keep me in your prayers as well, I really would appreciate that. But thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.